Hello, good morning, everyone. And I would like to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules to come and spend some time with me today to discuss infidelity. And this is Infidelity Part 1. And the reason why I call it Part 1 is because in this particular presentation, I am going to only discuss what infidelity is, give it a definition, and I'm going to discuss what constitutes infidelity and what are some of the reasons why people cheat. Because, of course, I'm sure we all know that infidelity and cheating are the same thing. And it's really a hot topic because it's something that affects millions of people. There's a lot of cheating that goes on. I know you guys know that. And it's really funny because as I was trying to determine what color I was going to use for my PowerPoint, I said, you know what? I'm going to choose hot pink. Hot pink for a hot topic, right? So let's go ahead and just dive right in. What is cheating? What is infidelity? Well, it's basically a secret, emotional, and or romantic involvement outside of a committed relationship. And if you notice, I said emotional and romantic. And we can go ahead and add physical in there too, because emotional cheating does take place. Cheating does not have to have physical contact in order for it to be cheating. The operative word is secret. This is the operative word, secret. It happens because the other person has no idea what's going on. They think that they're still in a committed relationship. They have no clue that someone has stepped outside of the boundaries of the commitment. Okay? And so I say all the time in my lectures that no one does anything without a payoff. Everything that we do because it gives us a payoff. There's something that we're getting out of it that we like, that makes us feel good. And so whenever we commit any form of an act, we need to really stop and figure out what is the payoff. What are we getting out of this that makes us feel good? And so when it comes to cheating, for women, we do it for love. We do it for emotional attachment. We are lacking some form of love. That's what we want to get. That's typically, in general, why we do it, because there's emotional attachment that is missing in our committed relationship that has become such an issue that we feel that we need to seek it elsewhere. For men, guys, I see how you're looking at me. You see what's up there? Yes, it is sex. It is sex. Women are emotional creatures. By and large, men are much more physical and emotionally detached at times. Am I saying, because I just don't want the rotten tomatoes to start coming down the line, start hurling through the air? I'm not saying that men cannot be emotionally attached. I'm not saying that men are emotional, if you will. But what I am saying is that the reason that men cheat generally is because of the physical aspect that they are missing. And also along with that goes ego stroking. Men love their ego stroke. They need to be told that they are needed. They need to be told that they are great. They need to be told that they are what I call the strawberry jam. They need that because their egos is what kind of makes them men. That's where their virility resides. And when they don't get that, that's when they seek it elsewhere. Okay? Now I want you all to look at this. It's hard for a woman to conceive of a relationship without emotional attachment. And remember that I'm saying, you guys, that this is just a general statement. That always there are exceptions to the rule. There are always going to be exceptions. There are some women out there who can be just lacking emotion, or lacking that attachment. But by and large, it's very difficult for a woman to conceive of that. And see, that's why when a man says that he was with this other person, but he doesn't love her, a woman's like, what? That's what drives women crazy. That's what drives women crazy when it comes to thinking that someone has taken their significant other's love away from her. They don't understand that a man can be with another woman and not be emotionally attached to her. It's not about that most of the time. All right? And so that's why when a woman says, do you love her? Oh, man's looking like, what? This question's crazy. No, I don't love her. But you know, men have to understand that that's the way women think. But conversely, a man finds it extremely difficult to believe that a woman has been in a relationship without the physical contact, without sex. So when a woman cheats emotionally and not physically, and a man asks her, well, were you physically intimate with him? And she says no, he's looking at her like, I'm going to ask you one more time. One more time I'm going to ask you. He doesn't believe it. Because there's that difference in the way that men and women operate, in the way we think. Okay? So there are different categories of cheating. Okay? We can kind of categorize it. And the first category we're going to look at is going to be the one night stand. All right. So we all know what a one night stand is. You know, you go to a bar, go to a party, go to a club, and, you run into someone that you're attracted to. And you make the decision at that moment that you are going to go further with that person than you probably should. So you end up at the person's apartment, at the person's house, you all do what you do, and then it's over. You may not even see that person ever again. Heck, sometimes you don't even know the person's name because it doesn't really matter, because you're not trying to make that a long-term situation. And so because of that, there is very little likelihood that it's going to happen again. And then there's very little or no emotional attachment. In that situation, the only way that there can be emotion is if it happens to be someone that you may already know. Because it doesn't have to be a stranger necessarily that you have a one night stand with. All right, we have philandering. All righty, now let's talk about this. And there's always this joke that we have, because the philanderer we always see is like the traveling salesman who travels to all these states to do his business, and he travels to all the states to do his business. You know what I mean? So you've heard of the people. They got, they go there, this city, that city, and they're getting with women all over the place, right? So who typically does this? You have, seriously, you do have the traveling salesman, athletes, okay, actors, any group who travels around as part of their job, as part of their occupation. And if you noticed, I did say men, because the way that women are hardwired, typically women just don't do that. We just don't do that. We just don't go sleeping with. Women sleep around. Don't get me wrong, but that many people, you're just not going to find very women that do that. And of course, there's not emotional attachment when you do things like that. You can't get emotionally attached to 60 people. And a lot of times, it could be a symptom of sexual addiction. And that's not something that we're going to go into at this particular juncture, but sexual addiction is a very real thing. And that is how it manifests itself. Well, in one way, is through the philandering. All right, so then we talk about the affair. The affair. the one that is the bane of so many people's existence. Why is that? Because an affair, that's when it starts getting deep. When you have an affair, it lasts over a period of time. There's one person, and there is going to be some degree of emotional attachment. And that is on the part of a male and a female. So the affair is what is seen as being the most dangerous, because an affair that goes on is when you really have the potential to lose the person that you're with. And an affair, I want you all to understand, can be emotional or it can be physical. You don't necessarily have to physically have sex with someone to have an affair. And it's, in terms of women, an emotional affair is a lot more dangerous. Because once you have a woman's emotions, once you have us all tied up and twisted up and all inside our head and our hearts, that can be a wrap, you know, for the person who is the partner in the committed relationship. All right, so guess what? We can break down affairs. There are different types of affairs. You have the accidental one where you didn't plan on it. You didn't wake up one day and say, you know what, I think I'm going to have an affair today. I think I'm going to go approach Sally. I think I'm going to approach Robert, and we are just going to have this thing. It's kind of something that just happens. You happen upon somebody. You can be in the grocery store, Schnucks, you know, you could be at the mall, Macy's, and you run into someone. Maybe both of you all are, you know, reaching for the same towel that you want to buy, and there can be an energy that is exchanged, and it feels electric, and something runs through you, and before you know it, you guys have exchanged numbers, maybe email addresses, right? And then it pops off from there. Okay? So the accidental deal is the origin of that. All right. Whew, let's talk about this sexual identity thing. Oh, I just saw the eyebrows go up. Yeah, yep. So that is kind of a different creature, and it's something that has really come to light recently. And with that one, you know, it kind of becomes an affair to figure out where you are with your sexual orientation. Let me be more clear. You could have a woman who is not quite sure if she's a lesbian. She's married to a man, but she might have some underlying feelings that she might want to go the other way. Same thing with the male. Might have, you know, had a chance encounter with the male, felt some things that he may not have expected, didn't really know what to do with, that caused him to kind of wonder, whoa, you know, what is this? Am I on the other side? And so then the exploration begins. There may be a situation where, you know, the male or the female can explore and try to figure it out with a person of the same sex, which is fine, but it's happening in secret outside of the committed relationship that they're already in. Their partner doesn't know. Partner doesn't even know that there's even a question about their sexuality. So that's what the whole down low thing is we're talking about, that you all, you know, are emailing me and telling me you want to talk about, you know, and we're going to get to that. Not today, but we're going to get to that. The down low guys. who are doing this stuff when they're married and the wife doesn't know and finds out later when he leaves her for, Patrick. So that's what that is. All right. Then you have an exploratory affair. All right. An exploratory affair, it is premeditated. Okay. It is planned. It's premeditated. And basically a person just decides, you know what, I'm about to see what's out there. I'm bored, not getting my needs met, whatever the case may be. So they decide that they have come to a point in their relationship when they just kind of want to see what's out there. So when people jump on the internet sites, the internet dating, eHarmony, My Harmony, Your Harmony, all of those, that's what they're doing. And when they hook up, they're committing an exploratory affair. When they go to these clubs where singles can mingle, even if you go to a bar, if you're going to it with the intention of trying to find someone else to date or to be with besides the person you're committed to, that's exploratory. Okay, here's the deal. We also need to talk about why cheating takes place. Here's the deal. By the time, and this is really important because I feel like we really need to talk about this. A lot of people, they really do think that by the time, cheating happens, that it is somehow the cause of problems. No, cheating is a symptom. By the time cheating happens, you all have already had problems in a relationship. I guarantee it, because cheating is something that people do when they do not solve the issues that have been plaguing their relationship. It is acting out like kids. When a baby is sleepy, the baby doesn't just go to sleep a lot of the times. They don't just lay down and go to sleep. They're going to cry. They're going to have a fit. It's the same thing. It's a symptom. It's a sign that all this other stuff has not been checked. Okay, so that's very important to know. All right, so I just wanted to go ahead and talk about that right quick, because it's important to understand that before we can even get past and go into some certain things. Now, here's another type of affair. And it would seem as if it would be almost rocket science, but we're going to talk about this anyway. You have a tripod affair, and we know that a tripod, right, has how many legs? Right, three legs. And that relationship becomes like that tripod. The relationship has 3 legs. There is the 2 significant others, 2 legs, but then another party is brought in to spice it up, to kind of add some flavor, to fill in holes for what's missing, fill in gaps. But the problem is that third party becomes so much of a type of a crutch for the relationship that it becomes a problem. It becomes a hindrance. And then a lot of times what happens is one of those parties, they go off with the third party and form a whole new relationship outside of the knowledge of the other primary partner. And that's what happens a lot of times when people swing. Y'all, don't look at me like you don't know what that is. Some of y'all going there tomorrow night. Come on now. No, we gotta talk about this. Swinging. That's a fear, and that is a reality a lot of times what happens with swinging. You bring in a third person, it's exciting. and all of that. And I'm not saying that is wrong, that swinging is wrong. My thing is, hey, who am I to judge anything? That's not why I'm here. What I'm saying is a lot of times that third party that's brought in becomes too much of the focal point of the relationship, to the point where one party, one partner in the committed relationship goes off outside of the knowledge of the other partner. And the boy toy, like for a woman, is the same thing. Okay. So then we have the retaliatory relationship. Yeah. Where he cheated on me, so I'm going to go cheat on him. He slept with my best friend, so I'm going to go sleep with his brother. And that's the whole reason you do it. You may never even thought about doing it before. You may never even thought about it. But when a person does something to hurt us, sometimes we lash out, right? We lash out. And we want to get back at them. So we do that. And that's the whole purpose of cheating. And that's why it's short-lived, because, that feeling and that satisfaction of revenge, after a while, it gets old. It gets old. But it gets old really quickly, because once you've done it, you've done it. And if you really don't have any feelings for the person that you are using as that tool to get back at the other person, it's just over. Anyway. All right, then you have the exit relationship. My. So here's the kicker. This one is the kicker. Because with the previous relationship, right, with the sexual identity relationship, even with the accidental, the retaliatory, the exploratory, the tripod, at that point, people, they really haven't made a decision to leave the relationship yet. They're not cheating because they necessarily, definitely, for sure, and for certain plan to leave or end their relationship. All right? That decision hasn't been made. So there is actually still some hope there. But for the exit relationship, is the person committing the affair, the person having the affair, has pretty much already decided that they want out. They're done. And so the relationship is really a way of saying, I really don't care anymore. They just haven't done it yet. So a lot of the times, the people that they're having the affair with, they are the next person. They may marry this person or stay in a long-term relationship with the person because they've already decided that they're done. So that's what's important to remember about that. Now, the question that even prompted this presentation today is this: why do people cheat? People want to know, why do people do it? Like, why? And so this I actually got from you all, meaning my listeners, meaning my subscribers, meaning from people that I've talked to over the years who basically have just told me why they do it. And that is the best gauge about why people do what they do. Ask the people doing it. You all know. We know why we do what we do. And so here are just some examples. We have, of course, unmet emotional and physical needs. Right? We just simply aren't getting what we want. Sometimes we have vocalized what we want. Sometimes we haven't. But either way, we're not getting it. So we go off and try to get it from somewhere else. Right? And then sometimes there's sexual curiosity. I wonder what so-and-so is like. I've heard a whole lot about this person. Let me see. And then you just have sometimes, which actually happens a lot, simply a lack of communication, a lack of ability to say, look, I'm not getting what I need. I'm not getting what I want. And I'm having these thoughts and these feelings that I want to explore the options. Okay? That doesn't happen, so the person just does it. Then you have regrets. I mean, that's just simple. You got into a relationship and you regret doing it for whatever reason. You like, ooh, do over. But, it's too late. You're just in it. All right. And then we have, this is germane to marriage, but you just have unrealistic expectations about marriage, and that happens a lot. That's why a lot of marriages end in divorce. People have unrealistic expectations about what it is and what happens. Like guys think, ooh, I'm getting married. I was getting it every single night, all the time. When I wake up in the morning, during the day I come home for lunch. Then when I come home from work and when I go to bed. Yeah, all that was happening before marriage, wasn't it? Before the children, before both of you all were really working, before you had a house to take care of. Kind of unrealistic. And women do too. It's not just men. Women have the same unrealistic expectations. Maybe it's not all about, the physical. But we still have the same thing. Okay? Now, here's another. Not really knowing you. Well, look at right here. Look at this. Outstanding. Not really knowing the person prior to commitment. And it's funny because in a later session this afternoon, we're actually going to talk about that. How do you know who it is that you're committing to? Okay? That's a big one. Then you have people who are sexually addicted. It's simple as that. They just like sex. And they want as much of it as they can possibly get. But only, come on. The significant other can only give so much. Right? In this case, it will be a woman because mostly men have sexual addiction. So, my gosh, the woman has, other things to do besides sit up and have sex with you all day and all night long. So clearly, it doesn't work for a person who is addicted. So they have to go and they have to, get that outlet and that release other places. And of course, I'm not going to go into sexual addiction at this particular point, but most people who have sexual addictions have very low self-esteem. And that's why they have to go to all these different people, because the conquest makes them feel better about themselves. All right. So then, you just have good old-fashioned boredom, getting sick of the same thing, same routine, day in, day out, all the time. Right? Wake up, go to work, come home, eat dinner, go to the gym, call the kids around to practice, maybe with, a yoga class and a football game interspersed somewhere here and there. Right? You get sick of the same old thing. And so, stepping out as excitement. All right. Not knowing the other person prior to commitment is a big thing, but what about not knowing yourself? A lot of times people don't know themselves prior to entering into a serious committed relationship. We don't take the time to really get to know what we like, what we don't like, how we'll react in certain situations, if we're ready, even to be in a relationship of that magnitude. We don't know because we don't know ourselves, and that causes problems because when we want to start exploring, it's a lot of times it's too difficult for us to do it within the confines of our own relationship, so we step out looking for someone else to help us to find out that information. Okay? And then, of course, you have low self-esteem. Some people, they just don't feel very good about themselves. And so when we go out, when we step out, and other people are telling us, ooh, you are so fine. You got it going on. You may not even think those things about yourself, but the fact that somebody else is telling you that really makes you feel good. Like, ooh, for guys, somebody come up, ooh, look at those, I love those triceps, and you want to do the guns, ooh, see them guns, And they're touching the muscles, and they're looking at how you dress, and they're telling you that you are just the best thing since sliced banana nut bread. Doesn't necessarily mean that you feel that way about yourself, but you got somebody else telling you how great you are. And that works, right? It makes us feel good. So here's the deal. As I spoke of earlier, this presentation is just part one. We just explored what is infidelity or cheating. You know, what are some of the subsets, different types, right, categories, and what are some of the reasons that people do it. And that is definitely something to think about, some food for thought. And so when we do part two, we're going to go in a little bit deeper. So you guys have been an outstanding audience. I see the look on some of you all's faces. I know you guys are just sitting there about to explode, and I know you have so much to say, but you can definitely feel free to come up and ask any questions you like. Thank you so much.